think Tiger would have accepted if she was just honest from the beginning. Honest that, like, hey, I'm skipping school so I can train swordsmanship with my bodyguard. I'm not sure if that's a legitimate reason to skip school, typically. Man. So the second time this week on the streams we've been, like, chatting about, or it's come up, like, what's a valid reason to skip school? So, like, your friend was murdered, valid reason. I'm not so sure. I mean, given the circumstances here, yeah, it makes sense. But just as a general rule, I don't think training in swordplay with your bodyguard typically would be a valid reason to skip school. I should probably clean the floors. I told Saber to meet me here a little later. I would just do the bare minimum of cleaning in here. It's been years since I sparred with anyone in this place. It'd probably be rude to both the dojo and Saber if I don't clean up. Oh, you're just saying you should have said, like, oh, I got other priorities right now today. Not specifically, like, I need to train swordsmanship. Okay, yeah, fair. But honestly, I don't know what she's going to do for sword training. I've sparred using Shinai with Kiritsugu many times, but Kiritsugu and I never really cared about proper form. It was more like a couple of amateurs beating each other up. I never really had any plans to practice kendo seriously, and I was really only taught how to fight opponents wielding a sword. I was never keen on using tools in a fight. My interest was always making and fixing them. In that sense, this might be the first time for me to learn proper swordsmanship in any serious sense. Saber's swordsmanship is different than kendo, but I'm sure there are some things in common, and I don't think they're so different that I won't be able to keep up. I hear the door open. Saber arrives precisely on time. That works out well, since I've just finished cleaning. Sorry I made you wait. I was thinking of having you teach me here. Yes, is something the matter, Shiro? You look like you have just seen something unusual. You missed the update on Assassin's profile. His skills list updated. Oh, is that so? I guess I could check that out. Ah, yeah, Swallow Reversal. A mystical anti-personnel sword technique. Maximum targets one person, especially that slashes the opponent with 3 arcs at the same time. Apparently, there's one example of something called a multi-dimensional refraction phenomenon. It is a fatal sword that is impossible to avoid in a different sense from Gyabulg. Makes sense. I feel like in a way, wooden swords are almost as dangerous as blunt weapons. I mean, literally they are blunt weapons, aren't they? Like, obviously they aren't to the same degree. Like, you wouldn't necessarily bring them to the battlefield in the same way you would. Why can't I think of, like, a single, like, battlefield blunt weapon right now? Like a mace, right? Those are... I mean, yeah. Oh, it's nothing. I was just surprised that you're still in the same clothes. I thought you were going to wear your other outfit. He has another skill. Oh, okay, thanks. Keeping me honest here. Mind's Eye, Verify B+. A mind is serene as a clear mirror, or still water mental defense mechanism that nullifies the interference with the mind. Since he is not an assassin, he cannot use the presence concealment assassin ability, but he can perform presence concealment in the form of a martial artist blank mind state, and the knowledge of the Showa, a special skill where the hitting accuracy does not go down no matter how many times the same move is used on the same opponents. Attacks can no longer be seen through. Interesting. We're training swords, so I would have thought of Saber in her armor, since that's what she always wears when she's fighting. Huh? If you prefer me armored, I can change. You are right. I was not thinking. I mean, it's not a matter of preference or anything. It's just it was a matter of expectation, more so. Not expectation in like a judgmental sense of like I expect you to do this, but just what I was anticipating. Even should we only be practicing, I am disrespecting you by not wearing my armor. My apologies. I will change right away. Oh, that's not what I mean. I just misunderstood. It's fine. I actually prefer you in this outfit to your armor. Huh? Are you not saying my outfit is unsatisfactory? Unsatisfactory? I mean, it look like you're dressed for a bout right now, but it shouldn't matter as long as you're comfortable. Wearing armor all day will just tire you out. That may be true, but don't you think this is an inappropriate look for wielding a sword? Why would you think that? It's not weird. You look good. And aside from the fact that that outfit is something a woman would wear, and a woman should never wield a sword, is what Sherwood is thinking clearly. I think you look better right now than you do in your armor. Don't be distracted by the cute blonde girl. Good advice, good advice. I don't quite understand. This outfit is certainly easy to move in, but it is ill-suited for combat. I believe this is quite an inadequate look for a saber. Don't you dare wear that outfit in a fight, dummy. You're a girl. Saber. Girls look good in outfits like this, so this is fine. And then I returned the rag I'd been cleaning with to the bucket, and I bring back 2 Shinai that had been leaning against a wall. So, what are you planning for this training, Saber? I'm leaving everything to you to decide, so tell me anything, no matter how absurd it might be. I toss her the bamboo sword. Saber seems distracted as she catches the Shinai and stares at me quietly. Huh. Is there a problem with bamboo swords? I guess it's... they don't really have bamboo in Europe, so it's probably not quite what you trained with back in your lifetime, but... I mean, it should be a decent enough approximation, no? Don't tell me to use wood or even real blades? Saber, you want to kill me? She's really a tough instructor. This is beyond anything I imagined. Oh, no, that is not it. These are certainly excellent mock swords for practice sessions. So let us use them. Saber draws in a deep breath and goes right back to being the normal Saber as I know her. That's a relief. It'd be too noisy to spar with wooden swords. Noise. Noise is your concern, Shiro. Noise! Look, as someone who values and requires some peace and quiet for my work, I understand the value of a low noise environment better than anyone, but that does... of the list of concerns I would have with regards to this training regimen, is it going to be effective? Am I going to get injured during it? Are we doing this safely? Is this going to be practical in a real-life combat situation? Whether or not it's going to be noisy, that's probably at, item number 5,000 on the list of things to be worried about. Fair point, Adam. Fair point. So what are we going to do? Are you going to make me strengthen my body by swinging the sword 500 times or run laps? That will not be necessary. From what I have observed, your athletic abilities are above average. If we intend to further fortify your body, it would take more than a day or 2. Makes sense. You may be unskilled as a mage, but you are not bad as a warrior. You must have trained hard from a young age. Well, it's always really good at. You don't have to be talented in MageCraft to work out physically. That must have worked in your favor. One of the reasons you survived Lance's attack must be that very training. But it will not be enough for you to defend yourself. Humans are bound by limitations. Your body has not yet reached its limits, and breaking through that limit would be difficult. That is why I will be teaching you only one thing: how to fight. What do you mean? Just fight? Basically, your tone doesn't sound like you'll teach me how to fight. Of course not. The techniques employed in this battle cannot be learned overnight. All I can do is make certain master experiences as many battles as possible. So I'm just gonna get beat up a whole bunch. Look, don't get me wrong. I understand that, practical, real-world battle experience is obviously an important part of the regimen, but sometimes you need gotta learn. I guess I already know the basics, but some specific strategies, some specific maneuvers, some practicing on that. Some design drills. I'm not a skilled teacher, so I'm baffled that you would seek my guidance. Hello? Having her sound so proud of that makes it a bit awkward for me as her student. So we're just gonna have a bunch of matches? Sounds like a fire hazard to me, but okay. Yes, that is all, Master. We shall not soften our blows. We will fight as if we mean to kill each other. Well, you will understand after perhaps an hour. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Is she not here to teach me swordsmanship, but rather to teach me how futile it is to think that I could fight the servants? Dang it! I'm about to get so wrecked right now. Sabi readies herself, gripping her shinai. I tilt my head, wondering what she means, but I also grip my shinai, as Saber does. In that instant, my vision goes black. Saber's teaching me one very simple lesson. No matter what I do, no matter what strategy I come up with, none of it will change the outcome of a fight against someone I just don't have a chance of beating. That hurts! It's definitely broken. If it were broken, your arm would look far worse. Maybe a bad bruise, but you'll recover soon. Okay then. Let's keep going. I can do this all day. Huh? You intend to continue, Cheryl? Maybe a bruise, but you should not move again so quickly. Hey, and if this were a real fight, you don't really have a choice, do you? Says the person who didn't hesitate to charge at my arm. Fine, if you don't feel like it, I'll use this opportunity. I got her! Nope. Obviously. Please listen to me. You're obviously fatigued. You must rest, or all of our training will be in vain. You're obviously fatigued. You must rest. I wonder who said that before. Seems like pretty good advice in any case, I'd say. But it's disgraceful for you to beat me so badly when you're so obviously taking it easy on me. Gotta get Shiro close to death so he can get a Zenkai boost. Maybe. Or, again, she just It's literally learned helplessness. I can't even get you to so much as raise a brow. I'll be too frustrated to even collapse. Oh, no, now she's praying. Yeah. If you want to be surprised, I am plenty surprised. I knew you were stubborn, but I entirely failed to anticipate the extent. Oh yeah, we could farm some XP. That's about strategy. Well, sorry about that. I hate losing. What's this look? Yes, you have demonstrated that many times, so you needn't say so. We'll be taking a break, so please put your bamboo sword down. The floor is slippery with sweat. You're not trying to carry out mock battles in extreme situations, so there's no point in carrying on while we are exhausted and on unstable footing. Why not? I thought combat training was supposed to simulate worst case scenarios, if not! That is even more pointless. Listen, sir, if you say you are going to fight against a servant, doing so will be pointless unless you are in peak condition, have the best footing, and a prepared path of retreat. Unless the conditions are perfect, you will not be able to fight against a servant. Your desire to fight while you are in the worst possible state is foolish in itself. Ugh. So what you're saying is I shouldn't even bother trying to fight in situations like this? Fighting servants is impossible? Oh yeah, but you could confront masters. Granted, the servant's main purpose in life is to defend the masters, so... That's sort of like saying, you know what? Joe Biden, he's... But to be clear, this is a joke. This is not serious. I am not insinuating anyone should do anything. I'm illustrating a point with comedic over-exaggeration. Now that that's out of the way. That's like saying, oh, Joe Biden's 80 years old. I could take him in a fight. No problem. Not then realizing that picking a fight with Joe Biden would mean picking a fight with, his entire Secret Service detail as well, which you're not winning that one. Sorry, that ain't happening. Okay. Anyways, where was I? So what you're saying is that I shouldn't even bother trying to fight in situations like this? Exactly. In a situation like this, there's no miracle which would save you. Zero. The best way to fight should be to fully prepare yourself, then pursue the best course of action in a given situation. Got it. Then I'd like to take a break. I slump against the wall and slowly slide down to the floor. I exhale. Air should be what I feel coming from my lungs, but instead there's only heat. Ouch. While my body is throbbing with pain, I glance towards the clock on the wall. It's a little past 11 o'clock. We started around 9, so we've been sparring for about 2 hours. During the first hour, I was just getting beaten up. Saber struck suddenly, then I blacked out. Knowing when to rest is important? True. I woke up thinking I would be more careful, and then just got knocked right back out. She's gonna give me a concussion at this rate. After getting beaten up repeatedly, my body seemed to get used to it. Or maybe my anger just triggered by some latent power, but eventually I did manage to block the first blow. The problem came after that. Here's a thought. Would humans dare to, or even be able to fight back against an opponent who is so much stronger and more skilled? Ew, Oni. The answer was no, because I blacked out the instant I flinched. After that, it was just a repeated show of a cat cornering a rat. If, no matter how I tried to block the attack, I was just going to fall, Mortally wounded, then I had no choice to attack in desperation. Of course, she deflected my attacks easily and knocked me out, but as I got used to it, I started getting enough time and awareness to intuit that the next attack would kill me, so I had just enough time to think to myself, oh crap. I guess in a general sense, I was getting into the swing of things. You know, this reminds me, so obviously this is like a completely outmatched like matchup of like I have no chance at all against Saber, but and you'd think that. However, if you've ever had a snake, right? I haven't had a snake, but I'm aware of, you know, snake keeping best practices. Often you'll feed your snakes like live like mice and stuff as like their meal. I think I read a story one, not like a fiction, but like an article of there was or saw it on social media or something, but a case where someone was like feeding their snake like, you know, live mice or something, but then the mouse actually won and it straight up like killed the snake. So like, you know, even if it's you're majorly outmatched, you know, there's always a chance. There's a little chance that, you know, you could be that one mouse in a million. I guess in a general sense, I was getting into the swing of things. Built different later on. Indeed. So after that, I went on the defensive. My intuition kept screaming that the next attack would knock me out, so I tried to avoid it, like any living thing would. I managed to parry Saber's Shinai attacks as they rained down upon me, and while I waited for an opening to counterattack, she struck a fatal blow. I managed to stand up and think that next time I'd last longer, then think maybe I should just go on the offensive before she can strike, since I couldn't hold out anyway. The difference between a mouse and a snake is not as big as a servant and a human. Imagine trying to fight a fighter jet. Yeah. Fair point. And that went on for 2 hours. Not sure this is going to make me stronger. Might depend on the servant. True, they do have different stat lines. But I do think it's helping me get used to fighting. Practice. So I'm neither confused nor too calm in the face of the enemy. All I'm doing is teaching myself that I'm a single mistake away from death. But if you asked me if I thought this was meaningless, I'd say no. With no effective weapon to use, the feeling of constantly being on edge is the most important thing I have. I'm not sure I understand. A job well done. I hurt anywhere, Shiro? Next thing I know, Saber is right next to me. I'm so exhausted, I'm dripping sweat all over the floor. Saber's even breathing hard. It'd be hard to find anywhere that doesn't hurt at this point. You really didn't hold back, Saber. It actually felt extraordinary having you just come at me without even having a chance of defending myself. I have to admit, I'm saying that entirely because I'm a sore loser. Yes, I did try to bring myself down to your level, but I also tried to show you no mercy. No real battle will ever involve making things easy for you. Yeah, thanks to this training, I think I can calmly deal with a Doberman running at me with its leash off. Then again, I wouldn't be good enough yet if it's just a Doberman, so I'll still need more training. I see. He's getting his mental sorted. I'm in a moment of honest reflection. I always thought I trained myself more than the average person, but now I'm ashamed for throwing in the towel after just 2 hours of sparring with Saber. That is not true. Your attacks were all quite powerful. I was so enthused by your efforts that I forgot to strike back at times. Oh? I'm suddenly embarrassed again. For a while, we'd just been two people sparring with our shinai with no thought given to being a man and a woman. But now, she's got me off guard. Hold on. I'm gonna go drink some water. Water? I fetch you some. Please stay here and rest. Saber goes to get some water. Whew, that was a close one. Huh? Close? What was so close? I drink the water Saber brings me. It must still be break time, as Saber's sitting formally in a kneeling position. Saber's so beautiful when she does that kind of thing. I'm not saying that as a man finding a woman attractive, but because I find her beautiful as a human being. It's so strange to think that she is Saber, a servant and someone dedicated to fighting. Right now, there's only me and Saber. This might be a good opportunity for me to strike up a conversation, so I'll ask. Okay. The reason to fight. I want to know why she seeks the Holy Grail. I want to know more about Saber before she became a servant. I need a trump card. It'd be nice to have some sort of secret blade technique or something. Okay, I think asking this last question here is basically missing the whole point of this entire training session. The point has been, it doesn't matter what you do. You're dead if you get into a fight with the wrong person. Why she seeks the Grail, or more about, I don't know. So here's my dilemma here. I think I personally find the second question more interesting. That's the one I kind of want an answer to. However, somehow I doubt I'm actually going to get anything particularly satisfying, because she's not going to want to reveal enough info to me to, like, know who she is. So, like, I think she'd probably actually give me, like, a straight-up answer for the top answer. But for this, like, she'd only be able to talk in, like, vagueness. Right? Even if she ended up saying something like, oh, yeah, I was, like, a general beforehand. That starts limiting who she could have been. That being said, I mean, you miss all the shots you don't take. Before she became a servant. I wonder what Saber was like when she was alive. Saber's so beautiful, so I'm sure everyone must have liked her. Calling her Saber is what's throwing me off, but I bet she was an ordinary girl who never held a sword back in the day. Shiro. Did you miss the whole thing? She is Saber because the type of heroic spirit she was specifically qualified for the Saber class. Like, I'm not an expert on how this works, but even I know that much. Which presumably means she was pretty darn skilled with the sword back in the day. Anyway. So, Saber, what were you like before? I'm so curious, I just blurt out what's on my mind without thinking, or even realizing I'm doing it. Come again? Did you say something, Shiro? It's nothing, I was just imagining what you were like. I'm not trying to find out your true name or anything, but I just wanted to know what your life was like. What kind of person I was? You're interested in the strangest things, Shiro. You can just ignore the question if you don't want to answer. It just kind of popped into my head. My top, like, or my leading theory right now would still be that she's like Joan of Arc. But even that doesn't quite fit, because Joan of Arc was not really, like, she was there for like morale mostly, not as like an actual warrior, from what I understand. Right. But I'm just having trouble even coming up with that many other prominent, presumably European female warriors, so. And granted, maybe that's my fault, my ignorance, but anyways, I know you're a saber, a servant, but I just thought you must have been a completely different person before you became a servant. That's right. Imagine she lived a peaceful life, as befits a lovely girl like her. I do not think that is true. One's personality does not change just because they become a servant. As a knight who was handed a sword the moment I was born, there was never any other for me, as you might have imagined. Seriously? Then you've always been so harsh? That's not good. I kind of sympathize with the people who were around you. That's rude. What do you mean by that? I may be stern, but I do not recall being harsh to those around me. That can't be true. Today's training taught me you're merciless. Look at this, swelts. Make one tiny mistake and you happily drive in at every opportunity, you demon. I do not do it happily. It may be tough on you, but it would not be training if I were not strict. This is strange. I somehow never expected Saber to make a face like that. What does that look? I believe it is unfair for you to suddenly fall silent. I guess another like direction to like think of is like possibly like historic queens. Though I don't think most of them directly would have been on the battlefield in most cases, but Oh, I never thought you would get mad like that. So you just kind of surprised me. Is that so? I thought I was only asserting my points. Yeah, but you're not usually so emotional, so that was new to me. Do you think so? I was simply expressing what I believe. Well, those aren't your feelings, they're your beliefs. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying that you never speak straight from the heart. Not sure I'd agree with that assessment. Of course not. What is required from me is not my own personal opinion, but rather my opinion based on my standing and position. That is true even now. I am a servant, a saber, and I will protect Shiro. There's no point in my saying anything so unconnected with my purpose. There's no sense in me thinking otherwise. That may be true, but that would be boring of you. For you, rather. You might have a role to fill, but that doesn't mean you have to devote yourself to that and nothing else. There are things you want to do, right? As I said, my job is to protect you. You're inexperienced as a master to begin with, and so I'm attempting to train you because you suddenly insist you wish to fight in spite of my warnings. That may not be entirely true, but, well, if you say so, then I guess it's okay. I feel like this conversation has softened Saber up a bit. She even looks more cheerful now. So as not to ruin the moment, I decided not to press the matter. Okay. So not much. I guess we confirmed what was abundantly obvious, that yes, she was, a warrior and knight in her previous life. So anyway, now that we've talked a bit, my body's cooled down, so we should get back to training. Saber, let's go again. I've had a chance to rest. Are you sure? You do seem to have cooled down, but you also appear to be in pain. It's fine, just bruises, so I can deal with it. Besides, I'm healing automatically now anyway. But if it gets worse, this training will be pointless. Maybe we should wait longer and see. It's fine. I want to do more before Tosaka comes home. I wouldn't want her seeing me in this state. I understand. It would not do to have Rin, who will eventually become our enemy, learn about your abilities. Reckless though it may be, I suppose we should pick up the pace a bit. Saber picks her shinai up from the floor. But then, a really out-of-place sound echoes through the dojo. Saber, I think her stomach is growling? It seems I am hungry. I don't notice engrossed in our training as I was. Oh yeah, now that you mention it, it's lunchtime. I can't blame her for her stomach growling. I'm not that hungry yet, but if Saber is, we should have lunch. And if during that time I heal more, that's even better! Hey, it's lunchtime anyway. I'll go buy some groceries so you can rest in the living room. Sure, if you're going out, I will accompany you. I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, we're not going to school, so there's no reason she couldn't be with me. I'll be fine. I'm just going to the shopping district nearby. No one would attack me in broad daylight. And you might just attract more attention if you did come with me. Would she? I mean, just a young guy, young girl going out for some shopping. Heck, it might make you look more normal, if anything. Are you sure it will not be dangerous? I'm sure. Just wait here. I'll be right back. Dang it, Shiro. You've robbed us of like a fun scene between you and Saber. How selfish. I grab my wallet and head out. It doesn't take more than 10 minutes to get to the shopping district by bike. The bicycle I take from the garage today is Unit 2. Unit 1 is still parked in front of Ryudu Temple. Young girl, he says the girl can be anywhere from 100 to thousands of years old. Okay, well, in my defense, firstly, even if she is a historical figure from like thousands of years ago, like at most she like lived a life of like, probably sub 100 years. Okay, we can't count like the entire existence of like her spirit and age calculations. And secondly, to an outside observer, yes, she would look like a young woman, because that's what physically she looks like. Anyways, yeah. Good thing I own 2 bicycles, I think is the takeaway here. I bike down the hill. Haven't gone to the shopping district midday on a weekday since I was a kid. The intersection is packed with housewives returning from midday shopping. They're coming from the neighborhood shopping center Sakura and I frequent. Why does Shiro need 2 bikes? Isn't that excessive? Well, I mean, firstly, if he's a bit of a biking enthusiast, right? You know, different bikes. You could have different bikes for different purposes. You could have a street bike, a mountain bike, a dirt bike. Also, it's plausible because, you know, he and his old man lived in the place for a bit, so... Well, actually, that theory doesn't really hold up because... Well, I forget how recently his father figure died. If it was recent enough, then it could make sense. But if it was like 5-6 years ago, then, you know, he'd probably have a child bike. But, I mean, it's just a second bike. Who wouldn't want to have a second bike? Anyways, I finished buying a bag of groceries. Enough food to make lunch for 2 and a light snack. I don't buy anything for dinner since Tosaka's in charge of that tonight, but I do buy enough bread for 4 for tomorrow's breakfast. I don't know how to make strawberry jam, so I reach for the cheapest. Well, no, that might get some complaints. So I go for an expensive jar instead. You know, speaking of shopping, I know I've got filled with shopping stuff. We live in a society that it's gone soft, I'm telling you. We used to live in a society that valued things like, you know, competence, hard work, skill. And now I go to the grocery store and they've got self-checkout. Okay, fine. I go up to the self-checkout and I start scanning my items. I scan them so fast that they think I'm stealing them. Okay? Apparently you're not allowed to do your job officially, or not even your job. You're not allowed to do the store's job officially. I'm scanning the item, I put it in the bag. Scan the next item, put it in the bag. Scan the next item, put it in the bag. The machine goes, oh, wait a minute, there's no way someone can actually be that good at scanning the items and putting them in the bag. You're obviously stealing. So then I had to, like, you know, an employee comes over, they have to be like, oh, they review the footage. They're like, oh, no, he didn't steal. He's just actually, like, you know, got some skill with his hands of, you know, moving the items around at quick paces. And it's like, all my efficiency gains wiped away by the store being suspicious of my competence. And I'm not particularly good at it, I'll be honest. Like I don't have a history of, like, having, you know, I'm not a veteran in the trenches of, like, I used to ring up these items for, like, 5 years in, you know, the high school. Like, you just scan the stuff, it's not that hard. But, anyway, so yeah, that was annoying. What's I going on about? Right, expensive jam. Jam, yes. They should have cashiers. I'll be honest, I don't hate the self-checkout. I like that it's an option because I'm more efficient than most cashiers. But it's gotten to kind of an absurd point where you'll be at, like, a Walmart and they've got, like, you know, 20, 30 different, like, self-checkout things and, like, 2 normal ones. So yeah, it's getting a bit out of hand, I will say. Damn, this is really eating into my wallet. Why the hell do I have to spend 1,000 yen on something so sugary? I load the groceries onto my bike as I grumble. But then, I feel someone tugging at me from behind. This could be bad. Huh? I turn around wondering who it is. Yo. Hi?